Alright, so I'm going to show us how to make this connector piece for the Autoblox today. In my opinion, I think this is probably one of the more difficult parts in the entire assembly. So I'm going to help us out. Now, when I originally started making this, it really takes me a second to really think about what is going to be the best way to make this. Um, you know, how can I do it in the fewest amount of extrusions? Okay, so I actually sat down for a while and kind of figured out exactly what the overall kind of different shapes are and how can I simplify it. Originally what I did is I had this as one shape, and that also included this part. That was my first draft there, going through this, and I realized that I made a big mistake on there. And I actually had, this is a whole different extrusion than this part. So I'm going to kind of show us how we're going to go about doing all of our different extrusions here. All right, first of all, we have this outside shape right there. All right, it goes over and then up and then over. Okay, so that's going to be our first shape. Our second shape is going to be this whole part right here. That's going to be our second shape. And that includes, we're going to do these little rectangles. I'm going to be making the green part, which is slightly different. It uses squares instead of diamonds, but it's all basically the same type of thing. Alright, so this is going to be our second shape here. Our third shape is going to be this little knockout right here. I think it probably goes down and over and up. Yep. And then we have our fourth extrusion, which is going to be both of these tops right here. And then we have our final extrusion, which is going to be on the back side over here. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. Let's just focus on this first one right now, and then we'll kind of build off of there and kind of understand how everything kind of goes together with this. So, when I'm going to be starting this off, oh, by the way, this is what the final view is going to look like. You can get an idea. You can see I have only 5 extrusions here, so I want to make it with the fewest amount of extrusions as possible. But we're going to go ahead and start a new file here. And right away I'm just going to go save as. I have my Autoblox folder. I'm going to save this one as video because I'm making a video of this part right here. Alright, yours would probably just be your initials underscore auto underscore middle underscore connector or something like that. I'm not sure what your name was, but you should have it as your name in there. So I could say save. So I've got this blank part started up. I said I was going to do this back portion first. So let's start a 2D sketch. Now if I look at this part, it has almost 2 mirrors in it. So I'm going to start off by just making one construction line. That's going to be one of my mirrors, and then I'm going to make another construction line here, straight up to the left. That's another one of my mirrors. Alright, from there, I'm going to go ahead and make this overall shape here. So I'm going to start off at the end of that construction line. Oh, make sure I deselect construction line. You shouldn't see any blue right there. I'm going to go right here. I'm just going to go over, up, over, and then straight down. Okay, so I've got my general shape going here. And let's add some dimensions onto this. First of all, I'm going to dimension how far up it goes, and that's going to be 0.17. Alright, and then I'm going to go from this green point to this green point, at that point right there. And that's going to be 1.15 here. Click the check. And then this height right here is actually going to be 0.22. And this part right here is going to be 0.3. Okay, so that looks pretty good overall. I don't see any issues with this right now. And I'm going to go ahead and mirror this part. So I'm going to mirror all these lines. So the first thing it's asking you to do is select the lines. I'm going to select the lines that I want to mirror, and then mirror line is going to be this construction line that I used right here. Alright, that's going to be my mirror line. And then I can click apply. And there you go, you can see my mirror happen right there. Next thing up, I want to select all these parts here. And then mirror, I'm going to select this line that's going straight left and right. And apply. Okay, so I've got a good looking shape right there. I don't see any sort of issues with that. I'm going to say finish sketch. From there I'm going to extrude out 0.5 inches, and I'm going to do a little fillet here. First of all, I'm going to get these outside edges. These are going to be just 0.1. So that's going to be this edge, that edge, and this edge. So you should have 4 selected there. I'm going to do another fillet. This one's going to be a different size. It's going to be 0.05. 0.05. And then I'm going to go with this top edge and this top edge. And that bottom edge and that bottom edge. Alright, so we got this one part done, this back part. And so the next part that we're going to be making is going to be this front little portion here. So let's go and let's just make a sketch on this front side right here. Alright, so I've got my sketch on this front side. First thing I want to do is I am going to project geometry. Now there's certain portions of here that's just going to be just slightly smaller than our original outside edge. Now not the whole thing though, just a few lines. So I'm just going to go ahead and click these lines that I know I'm just going to be making a little bit shorter. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset these lines. So I'm going to go in by 0.05. I'm going to do the same thing over here. So what that did just gave me a 0.05 edge all the way around this whole thing. And next thing I'm going to do is coincide these points with the line. And then I want to get this total thing enclosed. So right now what I have is I have a solid line here, solid line here. I want to have one more line right there, so I'm going to do that project geometry here. So for here and here. Okay, so it's looking good for this shape. I'm just going to show us what it would look like if we extruded it out right now. So you can see that would be the shape that I had right now. But I'm going to add a little bit more into there just to kind of reduce the amount of extrusions that I have to do. So I'm going to do I'm going to do these little squares here. You know, each of you guys have a different shape that goes in the middle. I'm doing the truck right now, actually. So now I have to still dimension it. So from here to here, I'm going to say this is going to be 0.16, and from here to here, it's going to be 0.16. Now it might change depending on what you got here. Okay, so your individual one is going to be slightly different than this little part right here. My main thing is I want to make sure that these two are exactly 1 inch apart from each other. Okay. So I know that this will line up with my squares on my other connector piece, but I can still go left and right. I need to lock this down in place, so I'm going to do a couple of construction lines here. Just one off to the left, one off to the right. I'm just making sure that it's staying equal now. If I make these two lines equal, it will all of a sudden lock into place, because there's no way that I can have these be any other size. Alright, so now if we want to take a look at this, the width of this box is 0.360, the width is 0.360, the height is 0.360, and they're 1 inch apart from each other. Alright, these are some important things that you will have to use when you are going into the connector part that this part connects into. So make sure that you have this down as you want to do it on your connector piece. Alright, so now I can say finish, and I'm going to extrude this part out, and I'm going out another 0.5 inches. Okay, so 0.5 inches out this way, 0.5 inches out this way. And I'm ready to do one more fillet here. This is going to be my last little fillet for this. 0.04, and that's going to be for right here and right here. I'm going to go on the other side as well. Alright. There we go. Alright. Now this next part is probably the trickiest part, and that's where this clip comes into place. So where this clip is, and you can see that there's a little bit of space along this top edge right there. Okay, that's going to be equal to the space of this fillet. Now we just said this fillet had a radius of 0.4, 0.04 actually. So we're going to offset a plane from this wall going outwards 0.04. Alright, I'll show you what I mean. So I have plane. I'm going to click the down arrow and select offset from plane. So offset from plane. I'm going to click on the side that I want to go to. I'm going to go 0.04. Now if I look at it from the front point of view, you can see this plane is going to be starting right after this little fillet right there. And that's exactly what I wanted in this picture, to start right off the edge from where the fillet is. Alright, now it doesn't matter how big you make this. I make it just the size that I'm going to end up going with, and there we go. Once you have that plane made, we want to sketch on there. And F7. I want to be able to see into here. So in order to be able to see where I'm at, I'm going to click F7. So F7, and I'm able to cut inside of it. And now I'm able to kind of start making this shape. Now the shape that I'm going to be making is going to be something like, it's going to go up a little bit, it's going to go over, and it's going to angle outwards a little bit. It's going to go down, straight out, down, and it's going to angle downwards a little bit. It's going to look something like that. Alright, so this is kind of a rough shape. You can see this is where my little clip is. This is where my little thumb pad would be, where I am able to bring this clip down. I do not have support underneath the clip, so it does have that room to be able to go down. And so this is kind of the shape that I kind of am going with. Now, this is kind of what I am assuming based on taking a close look at this part. If I wanted to take a closer look, I might, find some tools to be able to actually physically cut this apart to better understand what's going on in there. But from my understanding, it's something like that little diagram that I just showed. So, without further ado, I'm going to do some dimensioning here. So first off, I'm going to do a rectangle. Now, the issue is I'm not able to connect to this line. I want to be able to connect here, but I can't. I know the distance from this to here, though, is going to be that fillet that I did. Alright? So I know this distance from here to here is actually going to be 0.04. So let's do that. We're going to go dimension from there to there. We're going to type in 0.04. And there we go. So we're going to be right even with it along the bottom there. Now how far out I want to go with this rectangle is going to be 0.2. And then the height that we want for this thing is going to be 0.17. From here, we want to draw this little clip that goes upwards at an angle. So I know that I'm going to have my little clip go from here upwards here. So I can figure this out to be 0.15. That's what I'm saying. That's what I kind of got for my measurement. That was kind of a tricky one, though. Next thing, I need to make a line going straight down. And I'm going to go down 0.135. So just where I was at before, actually. And then I'm going to connect down. So here is my little block that keeps it secured onto the clip. Here is the little latch that will latch into the other part. And then our last little bit is going to be where we're able to open it up with our thumbs. So I'm going to go onto this purple line, and I'm just going to click right over there. I'm going to go straight over and click. Alright, now it's still able to be moved around a little bit. So what I want to do is I want to get this locked into place. I'm going to coincide this point with this line. And then I'm going to have the distance be from here to here as 0.02. Looks good. From there I'm going to go from this point and go straight down 0.05, and then I'm going to connect back to this point. Alright. So these measurements might be slightly different with yours. If you want to come up with some other way to go about this, you're more than welcome to. But this is what I got from my measurements here. And so, it might be something similar to the shape. Alright, now I want to extrude all these parts here. And then how far out do I go? That's going to be kind of tricky. I'm actually going to be looking at right here and figuring out, measure from there to there. That is 0.6, but I have 0.04 going off of this edge, 0.04 going off of that edge, So if I extrude these guys out, 0.6 minus 0.08 equals 0.052. But I can type in calculations if I need to, of course. Alrighty, look at that. We are well on our way here with this part. Our last little bit that we have to do is just get our little notches on the top open, and then we have to do the rectangle in the back. I'm not concerned about getting this bottom clip in yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to first get these little notches on top, and then I'm going to mirror the whole thing over. So let's take a look at our part. I got this part done. Got that part done. Got that part done. What I have left is I've got this part, this little rectangle, and this little rectangle. And then I've got on the back side, there's a big rectangle that I have to have. So let's go ahead and just sketch on the top part here. I'm going to make, I don't like the way that sketch kind of laid out right there for me. So I'm going to sketch right there. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and make two rectangles here. One, two. I want this line to be collinear. I always start off with my geometric constraints first, because it'll just help me out in the long run. Alright, so I made those two bottom lines equal, that line equal to that line, and it should now both change at the same time. Alright, so it's kind of like doing a mirror here. Even if you wanted to, you could mirror this shape after you make it. I find it's just easier to make both of those at the same time. Alright, so let's take a look. For this measurement here, I got 0.4. For this one right here, 0.06, and off the edge I got 0.04. Now from one line to another line, I got that being 1 inch. Alright, and I'm almost done here. All I've got to do is I'm going to make those construction lines in here. I'm going to go from here to here and here to here and make those equal. And let's see what happens when I do that. And I'm going to make both those equal to each other. And look at that, it locks into place. So now I've got the distance between these two being 1 inch. This is going to be important when I'm going to make my connection piece that connects to this part. It's 1 inch apart, and this is the size of my rectangle. Okay. So this is another one of those important dimensions that you might want to write down and be aware of it in the future. Our last little bit here, I'm just going to make a plane halfway in between. So click on the top, click on the bottom. And I've got a plane just that'll split right down the middle there. And I'm going to extrude these guys. They're going to be cutting into the part, and they're going to be cutting in 0.11. And looks good. Alright, now I just have mirror left. It's going to ask me first thing my feature. Alright, I'm going to select all my features here. So I want to get those little boxes right there and this little middle piece. And then the next thing, I want to select mirror plane. Oops. and that's going to be this plane that we made right there. I can say okay. And once we get that, you can see it looks great. It's on the other side there. We're all good. I'm going to go ahead and remove the visibility of these. I'm not deleting the plane, I'm just removing the visibility, just to make it a little bit easier for me to see what's going on. Alright, so now I'm on to this back piece. This back piece is just going to have a rectangle on it. And I need to dimension this out. This part I got as 1.6 inches. This is 0.3 inches. And from the edge to the center point, that's going to be this 0.3 divided by 2. Remember, I always like using these little equations. So now if I ever change this 0.3, it'll automatically change on here. So if I change this to say 0.4, bam, it'll still stay in the center there. Alright, and then the last thing that I have to do is get this centered left and right. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be dimensioning from this outside left line to the center point, and I'm just going to click on this dimension, divide by 2. Automatically it'll figure it out that that's 0.8. I can say finish sketch here, and all I have left to do is extrude into the part 0.33.
Anything you want to say about this board?
And all I've got left to do is make sure it's all saved up and it's all good there. Alright. So you can see, we kind of break it down step by step. It's a little bit difficult at times, but we'll get through it. One thing you want to make sure is that when you are working with the other connector pieces, that it'll match this one, or this one will match the other ones. Okay, but you don't really want to have any interference with these when you're going forward. All right. Hope you got through that all right. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. And all righty.